Hey, everybody, welcome back to Coach by Coaches. Today, I am sitting here with Jeff Cohen, and we are going to talk about all things business coaching. So, Jeff, how long have you been a coach, and how did you get into coaching?
Yeah, so I've been a coach for over a year and a half. And how did I get into coaching? Through a cold email. Kind of the story of how I've done real estate, all cold things, cold calls, cold door knocking, things like that. I wanted to be a coach, and I knew of the Tom Ferry organization. And I just said, well, and see what does it take to be a coach and see if I qualify.
What do you get out of it? What do you love?
I like the ecosystem, getting to meet awesome people like you, Bob, and all the other coaches that have a different way of doing business. It's no one size fits all. It's interesting to learn how, um, you know, you run a brokerage, how you do business there, and, compared to other agents that live in second home markets and what works for them. And if there's, you know, similar patterns or not, and things that I could bring and adapt to my business or different lead gen streams that I haven't thought about that I could implement for my business here.
Okay. Who would be a great coach? We get so many clients, and sometimes they're just not the right fit. I am not the right person to coach somebody on P&L. I'm
Hmm.
not the right person to go into your QuickBooks and try to tell you where to put things in different columns and stuff like that. But I'm really good at the technology and the innovation and the marketing and the social media and oh my God, let's go make this big splash, attention grabbing. What are you good at? What would somebody be like, oh my God, I should coach with Jeff?
Yeah, I'd say if they're new to real estate and they don't have a lot of business, they don't come from maybe a background with a lot of SOI or friends or family. Maybe they're in a city where they're not originally from, or they just want a career change, kind of from the corporate 9 to 5, and they just want to be successful in launching and starting a real estate business. Specifically, what I feel is one of my strengths would be setting appointments, whether it's on the phone, door knocking, in person at a listing appointment, how to crush your competition and get the actual appointment and walk out of there with it. Not being afraid of going on those competitive appointments that can be low hanging fruit for sell by owners, canceled expireds, for rent by owners, how to have a conversation with confidence and get the business.
So give me an example here. So I am a brand new agent and I am absolutely terrified of calling expires or going after expires. Tell me what I would need to do.
Yeah, well, first of all, you'd have to change your mindset, because if you're doing this by the phone, they can't see you. I mean, there's different ways to prospect expired. So if you're talking about, doing it by the phone, you'd have to get okay with making phone calls. So maybe what that means is you start your day by calling someone that is going to put you in the right mood. So maybe your first call isn't an expired. Maybe it's an SOI and get you in a good mood. Kind of be in the right environment. There's a few tricks as well. So I think gamifying this can help a lot. So I always have on my desk my little timer here, and it lets me know that when it's blue, by the time it turns white, there'll be an appointment set. But gamifying this.
Okay,
So
stop for a second. That is too cool. Show me that again.
yeah. So you set it whatever time you want, and then as it counts down, I'm doing it the wrong way backwards. Here you go. You see it'll start turning white, and then only
That
five
is,
minutes
if you
left.
sit for 5 minutes right now, it'll just count itself down. Does it ding
Yeah.
or something?
No,
It
I
just
had that
changes
turned
the
off.
color.
It can, but yeah, yeah.
That is okay. So I love that idea. How do you think that works for people with ADD? For people
Well,
who are
I'm one of them.
distracted? Yeah, I
I'm the
usually
example.
when people get like lost in the internet, I'm like, put a little 3 minute, 5 minute timer beside you, a little egg timer. Just put it
Yep.
beside you, and every 5 or 10 minutes when it dings, get back on track.
Yeah, it works. It
That is too fun.
Yeah, it makes you more efficient with your time, because if you think about it, it's like, oh shoot, I only have 20 minutes left. Am I going to continue this conversation with someone that I don't think I'm going to get anywhere, just to say and feel good that I had the conversation, or I'm going to get off the phone and go on to the next phone call where I have a new chance of setting an appointment within the 20-minute time frame that's left.
Right.
So going back to making the expired calls, it's getting your mind right, being in the right environment, whether that's in a room by yourself or if you get energy from being around other agents, whatever the case is. So then from there, you have to know like what to say, an idea of it. You know, if there's one perfect script, we would all have it. If that was the secret,
Truth.
you know, code, the hack or whatever. So I think it's feeling confident with what questions you're going to ask the expired. So I think with an expired, one of the first important questions you're going to want to know is the motivation the same? Do they truly want to sell it? I'd rather find that question out in the front end of the conversation than go, you know, 3/4 of the way through the conversation and find out it was a blessing that they didn't sell the house because there's no way at all they're moving. Then I just wasted three
Right.
fourths of the conversation of my time.
Right.
So, you know, there's all different ways to start it. Hi, Bob. Yeah, who's this? Hey, Bob, my name's Jeff. I'm a real estate agent, XYZ brokerage, you know, here in Kansas City. I'm sure you're getting a ton of phone calls. I'm assuming you're the owner of the house on Main Street. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, great. Well, you know, I was just calling because, I mean, to me, it looks like it came off the market. I don't understand why exactly. It looks like a beautiful 2-story home. Nice, really nice sized backyard. I mean, am I missing something? Is there something major wrong with the house? And you know, you say, no, we don't know why it didn't sell, or you know, we think it's a great house. And I'd say, well, great. Well, just real quick, you know, if you could end up getting a really great price for the house, would you still want to sell it and make a move? And if you say no, then you say, well, if it did happen to sell over the last 6 months that you were trying to sell it, can I ask where you would have, where would you be right now? Where would you have moved to? Did those plans change then? So the plan to move to Tampa, that's not the case anymore. You know,
So,
you could dig a little deeper on it if you want.
so what you're saying is, one, get in the mindset to make the calls.
Yeah.
Two, start with somebody who's easy to talk to, and then move into the harder conversations. And just be bold and direct about it.
Yeah.
Good. That's incredibly great advice, and I love your timer. Coach Heidi
You
Chirac
know,
has just jumped on. Let's let Heidi have a shot at this.
Oh, what was
Heidi,
the question?
you look gorgeous today.
Oh, you're so sweet.
The question was, how do you get people in the mindset of making calls? Because we all know that this business is about connections, and a lot of what we see is, oh, I don't want to be salesy. How do you get people into the mindset to be making calls? And Coach Jeff just gave us a great example of what he would do. And I love the idea of starting with a friendly call first and then easing in, kind of like put your toe in the water before you just jump into the cold.
Right.
What would you do?
Me personally, it's interesting because I was actually just talking to a coaching client about this exact thing. And, you know, they said, I don't want to come off as salesy, this or that. And, you know, I was actually just watching another podcast with Tom Ferry, and he, you know, if you're coming from a heart of gratitude, it's totally different. On top of that is, you know, you're doing a disservice if you are not following up. Because think about it. I'll give you a perfect example. If I am looking to purchase a car, no, I don't want to use a car as an example. I'll say, okay, I'll give it. My husband and I, we were purchasing electric bikes. By the way, if you've never had an electric bike, you should ride one. I will never ride a regular bike ever again in my life. But anyway, and when I was looking at these bicycles online, I had to, on this website, you have to sign up. So right then and there, you are giving them permission, right? So there's that. Now, I go onto the website, I look at everything that I'm looking at, and then I'm like, oh, the doorbell rang, whatever, it's Saturday afternoon, we have something else to do, so I leave. And, you know, now I'm still interested in purchasing a bike, but I'm looking for follow-up because I am going to purchase a bike. We did purchase bikes, right? But here's the thing, you've given them permission, but you know, you're doing a disservice. oh, hey, you were on the website, you were over here checking out all these wonderful bikes. Did you guys have any questions? Were you only looking at such and such type of bicycle? Oh no, we were actually, I need to have this and this and this. You're doing a disservice. So, I feel like if you're not making calls and you're not following up, you are in fact doing a disservice, but you have to be coming from a heart of a giver.
I think both of you have exactly, I mean, yes and yes and yes to both of you. You're saying service, and I want to emphasize that we're not here to be salesy. We're here to provide a service and to defend our clients. And Jeff was saying something very similar to this, as far as, having that mindset of, I'm here to help you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here to sell you something. I'm here to help you.
No.
And that mindset can really shift the dynamic of, oh, I don't want to bother people, to, oh, I'm going to help save their equity. I'm going to help save their bank account. I'm going to help. You're living in your bank account. Yes, you're living in your bank account. Why not know the balance and defend it? So perfect.
I totally agree. I actually have an appointment today at 1 o'clock, and it's a probate situation. And, the first call was a little difficult because, it's sad, and, all the things of the deceased, of course. However, she has now flown here, and she's like, Heidi, I need a pest person. I need a clean out person. I need, coming from, and she's literally, after the first appointment, she was like, I cannot thank you enough. You've been so helpful. I needed all of these things. I helped her with a probate attorney. Like, she doesn't live in Florida. She doesn't know these things.
She doesn't know these things.
She doesn't know these things. So, if you come from a mindset of like that you are in fact helping people. And even if it's somebody who has jumped on the website and said, they started looking at these houses, you're still, who knows? You don't know what you're helping them with.
Right.
I think it's something, it's the drunk monkey, whatever you want to call it, sitting on our shoulder. We're in our own head where we're like, they think we're going to be salesy. You're really not.
Yeah. So Jeff, talk to me about, to me, the two biggest things that I have to bring people back to are time management and task management. Mm-hmm. Time management and task management. How do you coach people? And maybe you think there's two different things. For me, it's time management and task management, because without those, nothing else works. In my mind, what are one or two foundational things you're coaching to at all times, no matter whether somebody's been in coaching 1 minute or 20 years, you got to bring them back to square one. What is that for you?
Conversations and appointments. Everyone always bringing that up, because if, as Tom says, and I've always been a believer, it's conversations lead to appointments that lead to closings. So those that have the most conversations set the most appointments, make the most money. Of course, you tweak it all as you go through that process. But if you want to know if you're on track for your goals for the week, for the month, for the year, what have you, then take a look at how many appointments am I going on, and how many conversations am I having. It's very telling, because then you can tweak the conversations. If you're not happy with how many appointments are being set, if you're going on appointments but you're not working with the buyer or the seller, then you can tweak what you're doing at the appointment. It's very telling.
Actually, I love that answer. I love that we all have different approaches. Heidi, what's your square one you got to bring people back to from time to time? Like, smack them in the head and go, why did you forget this?
Time management. I like to bring them back to back in the day, high school. And, we all had a schedule. You were in first hour, second hour, third hour, whichever. And you were only allowed to do that task. Science class during first period, second period was PE. You could only do that. You weren't working on algebra during PE class, right? You couldn't, when you shouldn't have been. So, I try to bring them back to that. We all like schedules. We all are creatures of schedules, right? So it's easy to remind them, hey, you're only supposed to be doing this during this time. And obviously, to Jeff's point, making the appointments, and it's all in the afternoon. You're setting the appointments because the more calls you make, the more appointments you get. And it's just rinse and repeat.
But okay, so I'm going to throw this at both of you. You two are both coaching me now. Coach Heidi, you just don't understand. I had a buyer in town and that inspection got in the way and I just couldn't make my calls this week. It's just, you just don't understand how busy I am. And the kids and the dog threw up and it's awful.
Prioritize. And, my team, my Amy, she literally reeled me in just the other day. And I was like, oh, we need to go and do this today. And da, 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 da. She's like, whoa, stop. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, is that a money making activity? Stopped me dead in my tracks. And I was like, okay, no, it's not. She goes, I'm not doing it. Okay. I can't argue that. You can't argue that. And that's how you prioritize. It is a money making opportunity or not. And if it's not making you money, it's not for me.
Jeff, same question. Jeff, coach, you just don't understand how busy I am. Oh my God, everything's going crazy and the painters are here and I got to get my car to the shop and my cousin came into town and stayed a week.
Yeah, I think basically what that means is you can't be upset with how things are going to look in the next 30, 45 days. So it's going to be absolutely no surprise whatsoever if there aren't deals closing in the next 45 days, more or less, because of the actions that haven't been done that were supposed to be done last week. So as long as you're okay with that, then it is what it is.
Ouch.
If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't
Mic
exist.
drop. I'm sorry, Heidi, what?
If it's not in your schedule, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same for me. If I don't hit my goals for the week of appointments set, then I'm not going to be upset if I know that I'm not going to have the income that I'm hoping to have in the next 45, 60 days. I'm going to be upset that I don't have it, but I'm going to be aware that because I didn't do what I was supposed to do, that's why it's not there. It's not going to be a shock and hit me like a bag of bricks as to what is going on. No, we know what's going on.
Interesting. I love the different approaches to this. Yeah, so I play the scenario with people that, hey, I'm flying into, let's use you, Jeff. Jeff, I'm going to fly into Kansas City, and my flight lands about 10:45 tonight. And by the time I rent the car and get my bags, it'll be about 11:30ish. Can I go see the house around 1 a.m? It's such a good house, and I know it's going to be sold tomorrow.
I'm sorry, I've got an appointment during that time.
At 1 a.m? Well, you don't have an appointment at 1 a.m. Come on now, I really need to see this house.
Well, I think, Bob, first of all, who are you?
I'm a pre-approved cash buyer with gobs of money, Jeff. Come on now, I got to see this house.
Yeah. So you know what? I have a team, and I will see if one of them are available because I'm not going to be available, unfortunately, at that time.
Okay. You got to the right. Heidi, what would you do if I called you up with that?
So this literally just happens about 10 minutes ago on our team. And Amy handled it like a champ. She was pissed about it, but she handled it like a champ. And this gentleman called, he is in fact a cash buyer, and he needs to see this property on Bernadine Street. And she's like, okay, great. I have availability this afternoon. And he's like, no, some of us work until 5. And she's like, okay, I understand that. She goes, I have availability today at 1:30. I also have availability tomorrow afternoon at noon, or I can do any time on Monday. That was it. She's going to show it today at 1:30.
Good. My point about the 1 or 2 in the morning showing. Every once in a while, people yield, okay, I guess I can call the other agent and set it up. I'm like, no. But the people who are like, of course I can't show it at 1 a.m. That's no, I'll show you at 10 tomorrow or at 11. If you can set a boundary at 2 a.m, you can set a boundary at 10 a.m. Mm-hmm. You're just not doing it. Mm-hmm. You're just choosing to give up your time during the day. And then there's always something that people don't give up. Like, do you pick your kids up every day at 3? Do you always, watch that TV show? What is it that you can have a boundary around, but doing your work, you just can't seem to get that boundary to hold. What's the difference? So I love that Jeff threw a team member under the bus. A member of my team might show it to you.
I love that. That's a good answer.
Leverage.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, it's like I need that music from Price is Right, where you guess the wrong number.
Right.
Wah, wah. So yeah. So Heidi, I had asked this question earlier of Jeff. Who's the right client for you? And what is something you don't coach to, and that you're like, hey, I'm just not this. For me, it's accounting. Don't give me accounting and QuickBooks and stuff like that. What is it you're really strong at? And what is it that you're like, let's find you a different coach?
I would absolutely go with your answer, because accounting is not my thing. The only kind of math I can do is commission math, and that's about it. I would say I'm very good at accountability, because I'll be honest with you, this past year at Summit, my biggest favorite takeaway was nobody cares. Nobody
Expand on
cares.
that.
Nobody gives a
For
shit.
people who didn't attend Summit, tell us what that meant.
You know, we all have lives, we all have bullshit, and we all have jobs to do. Right? So the way I see it is, you know, you're going to make time for what's important. Okay. And if you want the business, then the business is going to be important to you, and you will make time for it, but you will set your boundaries. So that's, you know, and when I get into my own head and I'm tired and I really don't feel like going on the appointment, you know what? Nobody gives a shit that I have a headache. They don't care. All they want to do is either go see that home or they want to sell a property. That's all that's in their head. And I know that every time, can't believe this is, I even have to say this, that I've went to McDonald's and they're out of sweet tea, which is my favorite. Like, you had one job. How can you be out of sweet tea? You know, all I know is I'm going through the drive-through. I want the sweet tea so I can get on to my next appointment. I don't give a shit what their reasoning is. So-and-so ordered whatever wrong. I'm there for one thing, and that's it. So I would say what I'm good at is prioritizing. I do enjoy working within the CRM. And then, of course, anything social media and video.
Excellent. Excellent. So Jeff,
what was Jeff's? I missed Jeff's.
You have to rewatch this.
You'll have to go back and watch these.
I'll go back and watch.
So Jeff, how do you help a client organize their work and their lives? I use a production spreadsheet. I will get into their CRM and their IDX and stuff like that for them. I will do some extra tech time with them and help them find, like, getting their sphere together and their bomb, things like that. What do you suggest for people to organize their business?
Yeah, I think it starts with just organizing your day. So lead gen in the morning, and then appointments and everything else you can think of in the afternoon time. And then based upon lead gen, what are maybe 3 different sources that you can do day in, day out that's going to lead to appointments? And then time blocking when you're going to be doing those during the morning time. And following that simple type of schedule week in, week out to get the results you're looking for. You know, you can back into the math to figure out how many appointments do I need for the week, how many conversations to do, but just making it so each day looks the same. That way it's predictable, and every day isn't going to end up being the same. But if most of the days can, then you're going to be, you know, increasing the chance of actually hitting the goal that you have overall.
Okay. Same question, Heidi.
I really like Jeff's answer. That was a really good answer. One of my favorite things that Mr. Coach Bob McCranie taught me long ago is do the shit you don't want to do first.
Yes.
Just do that first. Get it out of the way. If you've got to call somebody and tell them that they're not getting the house, do it first. Because if you don't, it is going to be a weight over your head the whole rest of the day. So again, I would have to say prioritize it. You know, also know your market. Some people are like, oh, you know what? The best time I'm able to get in touch with people is, you know, early afternoon. That's fine. But then you better be running your ass on appointments all morning long. Right. So, and perfect example, Mr. Coach Bob McCranie, he is a night owl. I'm not. I am out like light, right? But I am a morning person. So, you know where you're stronger and work from there. But I would absolutely be prioritizing your day, exactly what Jeff said. You know, but again, do the shit you don't want to do first, because it's the hardest. and get it done and out of the way, because once that weight is off your shoulders, the rest is a breeze.
I like that. I like that. So the other thing that kind of struck me is we were talking about, you know, night people versus day people, morning people, and you know, the 4 personalities in the Social Styles Handbook: analytical, driver, amiable, expressive. Do you find, I find that drivers, analyticals, and expressives do well in real estate. I worry about amiables in real estate because they're really trying to please people. And pleasing, I am not here as a real estate agent or nor as a coach to make you happy, because happiness is up to you as a person in the world. I cannot make anyone else happy. I can make them smile, but I can't make them happy. And if that's your goal, they'll hold that happiness away and keep you jumping. So I worry about the amiables who want to be always pleasing people in either in coaching or in real estate. Do you find, as you know, each of you have teams and staff and stuff like that, and you have coaching class, do you find the amiables struggling at all in the business more than the others, or have you even really thought about that? Or am I just on a tangent?
I'll let Jeff go first.
That's a good question. I am an amiable, but I'm also some of an analytical. And at one point, apparently, I was a D and an S at the same time, which I don't know really how that's possible early on in my career. I guess it can shift from where you are in life, but I'd
call
say
you on the amiable part.
no.
You get to self-define, but I see you driverish.
I'm a chameleon.
Yeah. I know we all have a facet of each, but when you just said you're an amiable, I was like, my head just went to the side hard.
I like to make sure people are happy, you know, and you know, I think there is some truth to what you're saying. You know, you want, an amiable wants to make sure everyone's happy with all the deals and everything, and it's hard when you've got 2 different parties negotiating against each other for, you know, what they want versus the other party. So to keep your party and the other party happy, it could really stress you out. So I think the way to do it is just look at the bigger picture. Like, not everyone's going to be happy, but if you can say, well, what would be a success working with this client? You know, is it making sure that they find the house that fits their needs that they're looking for? Yeah, that's the success. Well, I'm going to just focus on making that happen. Or if it's a seller, just, you know, my focus is to get them as much money and do some other marketing techniques that I've been thinking about that I haven't been able to do yet, and see how those go. And combination of that and keeping that the main focus. So I don't know. I'm big on kind of breaking it down and just having a smaller goal with what the big picture is.
Okay. Now, Heidi, you get the question you passed to Jeff.
Sure. So he had a
Driver
fantastic answer, of course. I am a 99D, so I really don't care about other people's feelings so much per se. But I do like what Jeff said, is finding, if you will, a meet in the middle. When it comes to negotiating, that is one of my favorite things. It's kind of like my high. Because I'll walk away from it. I don't care. I'll just be like, that's fine. We'll just go find a different house. We're good.
Love it.
But that's me. And I know that's not everybody. But you also have to, I know Tom has talked about it, you have to also get to that point where you're not attached to the deal and where you can walk away. And when you can do that, that's the difference. Because if you're not attached to the deal and you're like, you know what? I'm not signing up for that, not signing up for the drama, I'm good. That's a no for me. And you can walk away, that's pretty powerful. But in regards to, my husband is more of an amiable, act surprised. And that can be very frustrating to me, because just don't agree with everything I'm saying. You know, have an opinion. Yeah, exactly what Jeff said, which I absolutely meet in the middle. So I think that's perfect.
Interesting. Okay, last question here. We're all doing business planning for the new year. We're doing it with our coaching clients, And I said, I think in the last video, I see this as kind of like the Sears Christmas catalog. I want them to open it up and just point out all the things they want next year. What are the top 3 things you want as you know, yourselves in the new year? What are 3 things you want for your business and your coaching clientele and whatever else, you know, what is it you want for the new year? And I'm going to make Heidi go first so she doesn't steal Jeff's answer one more time.
I know. Yeah. Damn it. That's a really, really good question.
I'm good with this.
I absolutely love it when my clients win. Whether it's my coaching clients or my own clients. And I think that's obviously with everyone. However, I find it very fulfilling. One of my coaching clients actually just texted me last evening or during the day, and she's like, well, it just fell out of contract. And then it was like a $1.3 million deal. And I'm like, ugh. And she goes, a couple hours later, she's like, never mind. We put it all back together. And I'm like, hell yes. Like, that gets me excited. And, you know, I'm sitting
Sometimes
on
you have to fall apart to come back together.
right.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, yes. And my husband's like, what's going on? And I'm like, somebody just put a deal together for 1.3 million. He's like, was it you? And I'm like, no. And he's like, you know, would have been a lot cooler. But no, you know, it's just that being fulfilled. I love that, you know, where they're winning, where they're growing, where they're learning. And I love to see where somebody has come throughout the year. I am going to steal something from Bob once again, that one of the things that I learned early on coaching with Bob is it would always be January. And I actually started using this with my coaches or my clients. I'll never forget it. Bob looked me dead in the face and he goes, if you could go back 1 year and tell yourself one thing, what would it be? And it still kind of gives me a little bit of chills because that was quite a question. And as Coach Bob knows, I'm a tough one on the outside. I am pretty squishy and mushy on the inside, but it took a lot for me not to, I caught myself. I definitely caught myself. And that is one hell of a question. And I think it's pretty fantastic. So
the question goes, just for anybody listening who doesn't know what Heidi and I are talking about, because we've been together a long time, you can go down a hallway and you're going to open a door and you're going to meet yourself 1 year ago. You get to tell yourself one thing. What is it? And then you let them answer that question. Okay, now you're going to close the door and you're going to walk down the hallway to the other way. And you're going to meet yourself 1 year from now. You get to ask yourself one question. The first one is a statement you get to tell. The second one is you get to ask one question. What is that question? Okay, and you don't get the answer. And then you come back to the present and you go with, how do you make the future person's question be the right answer for you? How do you work with the person from the past? Yeah.
it's a mind-blowing question. It was,
I stole that from somebody, but it's great.
well, I already stole it from you. So
Okay. So Jeff, back to you. The 3 things you want in the new year. We just went deep, Heidi. Thank you. Chills.
yes, and excuse me for once, I actually have to go to another meeting, so I apologize, but I appreciate you. Thank you so much for having me.
Jeff, 3 things you want in the new year.
Yeah. One would be I want to increase my coaching capacity for more clients and challenge myself to do more learning within the real estate world, within the sales world, so I can share even more with current and future coaching clients. Second would be to set 1,000 appointments next year. And third would be to get better with my systems and time management, which is not necessarily a SMART goal. I could morph it into that, but following more of the daily
Why did you criticize
than what I'm doing now. No, I'm just, I just
don't put
I want
yourself
results.
Okay. That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. systems and time management, setting 1,000 appointments is amazing.
Mhm.
I mean, that's quite a goal. That's 3
Yeah.
appointments a day, doing rough math with, 365
Mhm.
days a year.
Yeah.
You're not going to have time to sit down, you know?
Yeah. So last year I did 550 outbound and about 119 inbound, and I wasn't pushing myself. Quarter 3 of this year, I was at 182. It's definitely possible if I put my mind to it, and within the ups and downs that we all experience, keep motivated. So I know it's definitely possible. I want to do it though.
Excellent. Excellent. So my 3 are, I want to get licensed in another state. I want to open up a new website in that state and start referring leads out. I don't want to go drive around and show houses. I want to start making more leads appear for other people. And I want to have a little bit more work-life balance because, it's been a crazy year in 2023 for me
Hmm.
personally. And if I'm working this hard, I need to play a little harder. And, not like go mountain climbing or stupid stuff like that. I mean, just need to dedicate the time to not working every second of my day. And here's the thing, I love the work. I literally love accomplishment. It's an endorphin for me to check things off my list. But there are other things to check off my list. So maybe I focus on those a little
Yeah.
bit. Okay, so what I was saying was I consider myself an expressive driver. I love to talk to you, and then when there's a stress situation, I take over, and then after the stress situation, we need to talk it out. My staff, when I did the review, sees me all as analytical, and it really blew my mind. Now, Jeff, you perceive yourself as amiable. Go a little deeper on what you were just saying.
Well, I was saying that I don't get energy off confrontation, which can happen a lot with real estate deals. But I am like a driver in this sense where if I put my mind to it and say, look, I want to hit X number of, appointments for the week set, then I'm going to take action on it. And I've got a lot of the analytical side to me as well, I believe, because like I want to see the numbers. I want to know my conversion ratio. I want to know, okay, if I do a confirmation the day prior or the day of, are my kept ratios going to be higher for these appointments? So there's a lot of that in the mix as well. And being expressive, um, I don't know. Some people say I am, and some people are like, no, I'm not. I mean, I can be on the phone. I can go in a lengthy conversation, but ultimately, I'm kind of like, well, let's just get this done with.
So a little too much information here. I am an extrovert. I get so much energy off of talking to people, and I love to go out and meet and do and stuff. I always attract introverts as life partners or friends because the introvert wants to swim behind the extrovert and have some fun, but doesn't want to be the front of the point of the spear. Do you see yourself as introverted or extroverted?
More introverted,
Okay,
for
I would
sure.
agree. I would just
Yeah,
knowing you, as long as I've known you, I
yeah,
tend to agree with that. I walk into the room and I can turn the room on or off. My emotional state can make everybody in the room happy, or I can be the little cloud of doom and everybody's like, shit, what's wrong with him? But there comes a weight with that sometimes as the expressive, as the extrovert. If the room is unhappy with your mood, I've had people come up to me and say, you're not being funny today. We're here because, it's always a good time hanging out with you. You're not being funny. And there are sometimes the extrovert just does not feel that. And there's that kind of like, I'm not here to make you happy. I made you happy because I was happy myself. So it's interesting, the extrovert introvert dynamic. And I'm intentionally right now trying to find or date extroverts. And everything I'm getting, I'm on one of those, matchish sort of, everybody's an introvert coming at me again. I'm like, no, I want somebody who like glitters. I want somebody who's like flashy. So to
yeah,
me, it's that introvert extrovert, sort of dynamic. And I think analytical and amiable go more with introvert. And I think driver expressive goes more extrovert.
yeah. I agree. I mean, I used to door knock, and that's putting myself out there face to face as a cold, cold opportunity. Just, you don't know me. I wasn't planning. Nobody knew I was coming by, knock on their door at 11 o'clock in the morning, but I had to do it, and I did it, and I like using the phone more.
So yes, using the phone. Here's the thing with the phone, and I can prove this with the stats from my coaching circle. They treat this as $1,000 pager. This is not $1,000 phone you put up to your ear and you talk with. No, they want to text people all day. They don't want to call. And there's some dynamic that shifted in life. We used to beg our parents to put a phone line in our room so that we could talk to our friends all day or get on the computer without mom interrupting our AOL time. We used to beg for a phone line. Now, if you call somebody, it's considered rude. I don't get where that shifted, but I don't have $1,000 pager. I have $1,000 phone.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's using the phone for the voice. Like, I could text you happy birthday, but what would you think if I called you and like you heard me say it?
Well, apparently some people would be rude and offended.
I guess.
Yeah, why? I don't
know.
get that. Maybe somebody in the comments could tell me how, maybe I'm, Gen X and Gen X wanted the phones and Gen everybody else doesn't. I don't get that. But yeah, we spend so much money on these devices. They can actually talk to people.
Well, I think one of the things that I like about the actual phone call with leads is you can hear the tonality. You can hear the pacing. You can hear, is the conversation going south? Is it going in the right direction? And you can't do that with the text. You don't know the tone or how to interpret that text that I said. And, if you're trying to ask certain questions, it might look weird to say that in a text as compared to saying it on the phone with your voice.
Yeah. Tell me about the flag behind you. For
Oh,
anybody
the
watching, tell me about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's what I believe. So it's the Cobra Kai flag, and it says strike first, strike hard, no mercy. So when you're setting appointments, okay, we all know you have to ask for the appointment first. I mean, how many times are on the phone? You're like, oh, hey, could we set up an appointment? I'd love to learn more about this. No, it's you doing it. Strike hard. Well, be confident with what you're going to say. And then no mercy. Are you just going to ask one time, or are you going to ask multiple times? So as I'm out here making calls, just kind of a reminder, that's what's going on.
I like that. And it's interesting to me what each coach has in their background. I've got a Christmas tree because I'm,
Yeah.
big and fluffy and just love that sort of stuff. Heidi had all these arrows going in multiple directions.
Uh-huh.
And that represents kind of the chaos of her mind. You've got this discipline behind you. I just found that interesting as we were talking just now, that what's behind the coach speaks a little bit about the coach. I want people to be happy and joyous and then get the work done. Let's just go and with a smile on our face. And again, here I am saying I want you to be happy when I said earlier happiness wasn't my control. But I want you to, let's be light and airy and get the work done. You're like boom, 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 and Heidi's just in all directions. Yeah.
I'm just big on the appointments because it's going to solve a lot of problems.
Okay. Have a great day. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Well, thank you for being on the show. We're going to do this again in a month. And anybody watching, if you want to coach with Jeff, if you want to coach with Heidi, if you want to coach with me, there's links below how to sign up with Tom Ferry to work with any of us. So take care. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Bob.